Hi, I'm Claire McDonald, and welcome to another edition of MediaPlex Sports Talk. Today we have a little taste of everything. We'll be talking about some current issues in the sports world. First, let me introduce you to our panel. Today we have Brock Segan and Joel Boyce with us. Let's get started. Joel, starting with you, Sid the Kid is back. What kind of impact is Crosby's return having on the world of hockey?
If you want to talk about what kind of impact Sidney Crosby has in the NHL, you look at the programming lineup for that game with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Islanders. Versus had the rights, and then CBC also jumps in to buy it. And most of Canada gets to see this game where Sidney Crosby comes back, scores 2 goals, has 2 assists. People were unsure of how he was going to play coming back after the concussion symptoms, but he did really good.
To be honest, I think everybody, including Crosby himself, was sick of hearing, when are you going to come back? He'd been out for almost a year, 10 months he was out. He comes back, he gets 4 points in his game back. He's the face of the NHL. He's the best player in the NHL. It's huge for the NHL for him to come back. They need him to stay healthy.
In Major League Baseball, Justin Verlander won the MVP, but there are criticisms for pitchers being selected. What do you think? Starting with you, Brock.
The only reason Justin Verlander should not have won MVP is because pitchers already have an MVP award of their own. But with the Red Sox and the Blue Jays both not making the playoffs, and Verlander leading the Tigers to the playoffs and a division title with extraordinary numbers, I think there's no way you could give to anybody else but Justin Verlander.
I completely agree with you. You look at the pitchers, and they only play a quarter of the amount of games that some of the other outfielders or infielders do play. But if they did play all those 152 games, their arm would be absolute rubber. So there's really no complaint, you should say, where pitchers do not play as many games as they do, because technically they are playing maybe even more on how many pitches that they actually do throw. Now, they have the complaint with Jose Bautista that he didn't make it again. He didn't get the MVP last year when he had a great year. This year he had another great year, and there's a little bit of complaints like that. But Verlander was very successful with the Detroit Tigers and basically brought them into the playoffs.
On to the NFL. What upcoming matchups are you looking forward to seeing in the next few weeks? Back to you, Joel.
A big game for me is the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys. They face off on Week 14, and this is a very crucial game to both sides since they're both fighting for first place in their division. They're also facing off on Week 17, which is the last game of the season. These are important because with these both teams fighting off for first place, it depends what happens before, in the middle, and if they get wins and some losses. But these are 2 wins that both teams need if they're going to get into the playoffs.
For me, it's a couple weeks away still, but in Week 15 on Monday night, there's a clash between 2 great defenses with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers. We all know that the Steelers have great defenses year in and year out, but one of the biggest surprises this year is the 49ers, and they have a pretty good defense of their own. So it's going to be an exciting defensive battle on Monday night in Week 15.
Brock, the next question starts with you. Back to the NHL. After the hit Lucic put on goaltender Ryan Miller, he received no suspensions. Do you think he should have been, or are goalies fair game?
First of all, I think that goalies should be fair game when they decide to come out of their crease and play the puck. But Lucic was flying in, lost the puck on a breakaway, and just delivered a massive hit on Ryan Miller. It could have injured Miller. It could have been a dangerous play on any other player on the ice, let alone a defenseless goaltender. I think Lucic should have been suspended. It was a dangerous play. It's something that doesn't need to happen, and there was no repercussions for him. Nobody fought him. He deserved to get beat up for that because that's not what you do to a goaltender.
I completely agree with you, Brock. The hit would have been definitely suspension even if it was on another player, but let alone this is a goalie you're hitting. You could have stopped. You know you're not going to get that puck. You have a lot of time to stop and not even put on that hit. But then the league and the referees, they gotta come up with an answer for this. Are goalies fair game? What happens when they come out of the crease? The game with the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, Gustafsson got hit from behind when he was behind the net, and the referee looked at him and said, "Sorry, you were out of the crease." So this is an answer they need to come up with, and everybody needs to know, is it fair game, is it not? And until that time, I guess they are.
And for our final question, Maple Leafs goaltender James Reimer's injury has been very hush-hush in Toronto. Just to find a bit of information, a reporter called his mother in Manitoba. Do you think it's right to call his mom, or is the secrecy to blame? Joel, this question's for you.
No, I don't think it's right that a reporter would call somebody's mother in Manitoba. They have the right to keep his injury a secret. And I know that, does he have a concussion? Does he not have a concussion? They come out and say that he has concussion-like symptoms, but what exactly is that? And with the Toronto media and how fanatic they are, and they want to be the first to publish everything, they're going to try to find any information they can at any cost. Is it right to call somebody's mother? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Injuries in sports are always kept quiet. Some of them are told to the media, some of them are not. In a case like this, I don't think if they don't want to tell them, they shouldn't have to tell them. So for somebody to call somebody's mom like that, I don't think it's the right thing to do. The Maple Leafs and Reimer want to keep it hush-hush. They should be able to keep it hush-hush.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Claire McDonald, and this has been MediaPlex Sports Talk.